73% of the poor population of India lives in villages, as per the official estimates of the Planning Commission. Primary purpose of conducting village-wise census of poor households is to identify the below poverty line households that could be assisted under various programs of the ministry. While estimations of poverty are done by the Planning Commission, a census to identify the BPL households has been conducted by the Ministry of Rural Development of the central government 3 times, in 1992, 1997 and in 2002, in the last 17 years. The Ministry of Rural Development is planning to conduct another BPL census. As a prelude, several methodologies to conduct the census are to be pre-tested through a pilot study planned in 254 villages across the country. The villages have been chosen from the latest NSS sample frame. The BPL pilot survey is planned in 2 stages. First, a structured questionnaire is to be administered in each household of the villages identified for the pilot. Then, a participatory rural exercise is to be undertaken in the villages to corroborate the findings of the survey through the questionnaire method. A household questionnaire and a village schedule have been prepared to conduct the surveys in the identified villages. An investigator's manual and a supervisor's manual have also been prepared for the purpose. Survey in each village would be a census of the entire village, and all the households in the village have to be covered. All homeless households are also to be surveyed. Before you start filling the questionnaire, you must introduce yourself and the purpose of this survey in the following manner. Good morning, I'm Sheena Kanwar. I'm here to solicit your participation in helping the government formulate policies for helping the poor. This questionnaire intends to collect some socio-economic information related to the household. The information collected as part of this questionnaire will in no case entitle any household to any benefit, nor will it deprive any household of any existing benefit that it receives. The information collected will be treated as confidential. Honest cooperation in this process is solicited for this purpose. The instruction manual also lists down certain conventions to be followed while facilitating the filling up of this questionnaire. Some of them are: do not collect information from a non-household member or through a group of persons. This is a door-to-door census of all households in the sample villages. As much as possible, ensure that there are no other persons except household members during the interview. The respondent should typically be a household member, male or female, who is knowledgeable and able to answer questions about the family. Avoid minor children as respondents. Be polite and be honest. Follow the exact order of the questionnaire, block by block, item by item. Do not prompt the respondent or ask leading questions. Rely solely on self-declared information. Do not ask for documents for verifying. Conventions that are to be followed for filling up the questionnaire are: all questionnaires to be filled using a pencil. No overwriting of information. If necessary, erase and refill. No cell meant for recording information is to be left blank. The only exceptions are the shaded cells for Block 0, Question 5, Column 2, Block 1, Question 3, and Block 13, Census House and Household Serial Number, where the field supervisor is supposed to post code, that is, after the interview has been completed. Where the term code is given in the question, the list of appropriate codes is provided immediately below the block. Alternatively, for binary questions, the question will include the appropriate codes. For example, 1 for yes, 2 for no, 1 for male, 2 for female. If the list of codes provided does not include the option that is appropriate, use code 97 for other and specify details in brackets. Where a number is required, example land area owned or number of cows owned, enter 0 if none. Where code or number is requested, enter the appropriate code from the list or 97 for other, or a number and not in words. If a question is not applicable, write NA. If the respondent does not know the answer to the question or cannot recall the requested information, record DK, that is, don't know. Please follow skip patterns carefully and enter non-applicable in the questions skipped. If an entire block is skipped, enter code 2 in first question and then cross out the block and skip to next block. You must refer to the census layout map. Please fill block 0, column 2, question 1 to 4 using the census layout map. The map would be made available to you by the supervisor. These codes are pre-assigned by the census and should be entered as shown in the map. Name of the hamlet or segment or tola or pada in block 0, question 5 has to be recorded by asking the respondent. In many cases, there are well-defined names within the village. However, the supervisor has to ensure that the same name is entered in both the village schedule as well as the household schedule. Each household in a village will be uniquely identified by 2 fields, a census house number and a household serial number. You will have a copy of the census layout map of the village before you start your fieldwork. Census houses will typically only include one household, but may include more than one household if there are 2 separate families living in the same census house. Census house number to be recorded in block 0, question 6.1 has to be entered from the layout map. If a household is homeless, it will not appear in the census layout map. All homeless households should be given a census house number of 1000. It is possible that there are some residential structures in the village that do not appear in the census layout map and will therefore not have a census house number. All such households should be given a census house number of 2000. Household serial number in block 0, question 6.2 is to be assigned by the investigator. If there is only one household in the census building, then the household serial number has to be recorded as 1. If there are more, assign serial numbers to each household and enter in block 0, question 6.2. In case of homeless households, the investigator should enter the code 1000 for census house number, question 6.1, and leave the household serial number 6.2 blank. In the case of households that do not appear in the census layout map and have been assigned a census house number in question 6.1 of 2000, the investigator should leave the household serial number in question 6.2 blank. The household serial numbers for such households will be assigned by the village field survey supervisor in a village master list when interviews of all households in the village have been completed. The household serial number will be post-coded by the supervisor based on this village master list. Before you start filling the questionnaire, you must be clear about certain definitions. 2 important ones are homeless households and the definition of household. Homeless households are those that do not live in buildings or census houses, but live in the open or roadside, pavements, staircases, or in the open in places of worship, mandaps, railway platforms, community buildings, etc. A household is a group of persons normally living together and taking food from a common kitchen. Even though the determination of the actual composition of a household will be left to the judgment of the head of the household, the following procedures will be adopted as guidelines. Having meals from a common kitchen. Normally co-resident for 6 months or more in the year preceding the survey. Generally, family members related to each other but may also include in some cases members that are not related to each other, such as domestic servants, attached labourers, paying guests, etc. In deciding the composition of a household, more emphasis is to be placed on normally living together than on ordinarily taking food from a common kitchen. The head of the household should ordinarily be resident in the household. In rare cases, the head can be non-resident. Example, where the person identified as the household head migrates to work for more than 6 months. Example, in nearby city or visits home on weekends. In these cases, this person should be listed as household head in block 1. Note that this self-declared head should be included in both block 2 and block 2.1. The following 2 exceptional cases will also be treated as household members. A household member who may sleep elsewhere, example in a shop or room in another house because of space shortage, but normally takes meals with own household. In this case, if place of residence differs from place of boarding, the person will be treated as a member of the household where he or she resides. On the other hand, a household member may have a meal outside, example, lunch provided to agricultural workers as part of wage, but resides with the household. In this case, normally living together will take precedence and the person will be treated as a member of the household where he or she resides. Now, let's look at the blocks of the questionnaire. Block 0 is for identification of the household. This block should be filled carefully to allow proper identification of households interviewed in the survey. Questions 1 to 4 relate to name of state, district, block and village. They should be recorded in column 1. In question 5, column 2 should be left blank by the investigator. It should be post-coded by the supervisor using block 5, column 1 of the village schedule. Question 6.1. Write the census house number for the household based on the census layout map. It should be recorded exactly as it appears in the census layout map. Question 6.2. Write the serial number of the household living in the census house. If there are more than one households staying in the same census house, assign them serial numbers and record in this question. If there is only one household, the serial number will be recorded as 1. For further details on assigning household serial numbers, see instructions in part 2 of the manual. Block 1 of the questionnaire relates to household basic characteristics. First is name of the head. Record the name of the household head as identified by the respondent. The head need not be male and need not be the eldest person in the household. He or she would typically be actively involved in the household matters. Write complete name without any spelling mistake as it appears in official records. Example, voter's photo identity card, bank account, school certificates, driving license, etc. Second, name of caste or tribe. Enter the full name of the caste or tribe of the household in words. Do not write SC or ST or OBC or general, etc. Third, caste or tribe group. This question is to be left blank by the investigator and will be post-coded by the field supervisor after the interview with the household is completed. The supervisor should fill up the 2 spaces in this question, column A and B, by matching the caste or tribe name against the list of all castes or tribes in the village, as recorded in block 6 of the village questionnaire. Fourth, religion. Enter code as per list. In case of interreligion marriages, write the code of religion as reported by the respondent. Block 2 of the questionnaire relates to household member details. Block 2 of the questionnaire will include basic information about all household members as per the definition of the household. The guidelines for filling this block are: definition of household and household head as per instructions for block 1. An individual should be recorded either in block 2 or block 2.1, not in both. The only exception is in the case where the household head is non-resident. Example, migrated for work to another city. An absentee or non-resident household head should be recorded in both block 2 and 2.1. First, ask and record the names of all household members in column 2. Order of asking and recording names should be: first, household head followed by wife or husband. Second, parents or parents-in-law of household head. Third, if there are married son or daughter of household head, eldest married child of the household head, followed by wife or husband and children. Follow this until you record all married children. Fourth, unmarried child of household head, record the names in order starting from the eldest. Fifth, brother or sister or brother and sister-in-law of household head. Sixth, any other member not directly related to household head. Example, servant, employee, paying guest, any other relative, etc. Note that the pre-filled person identification number or PID in column 1 uniquely identifies every member in the household and is used throughout the household questionnaire. Example in blocks 3, 5 and 6, which ask for information on specific individuals. After listing all household members, for each person record details as follows: full name as in official records, gender male, female, and 97 for transgender. Age, record age in completed years. Example, if a person's age is 25 years and 5 months, then write 25 in the space provided. For children of less than 1 year, write 0 as the age. Relationship to head as per the code list. Note that only the relation to the head is to be recorded, not to other household members. Note that adopted and biological children will be treated alike. Father's name. Even if the father does not live in this household or has passed away. Write the full name, first name, middle name, last name. Do not write the PID or the person identification number. Mother's name. Even if the mother does not live in the household or has passed away, write the full name, do not write the PID. Marital status as per the following codes. 1 for unmarried, 2 for married, 3 for widowed, 4th for divorced, 5th for separated, 6 for abandoned, 97 for other. Example, live-in relationships, etc. 9 relates to highest education level completed. This question seeks to get answers about the educational attainment of the members. The highest educational level completed refers to the educational category successfully completed. For example, if the household member studied up to class 10 but could not pass the 10th board examination, he will be coded as middle. Point 10 relates to possession of educational certificate. Write 1 if they have a valid certificate to prove their educational qualification. The certificate should be issued by the concerned educational board, mentioning the name of the person and the standard or examination he or she successfully completed. There is no need to verify the educational certificates. Block 2.1 captures basic information about other family members who are normally resident in the household but have been living outside the village for more than 6 months in the past 1 year. The guidelines regarding this are: record the household head in this block only in the case where household head is a non-resident. If no such family members enter 2 in question 1, cross out the table below and skip to the next block. The explanation of the codes for filling this block are also given in the manual. Block 3 of the questionnaire captures information about disability and chronic illnesses. The definition of chronic illness is a disease that is long-lasting or recurrent. Definition of disability is as defined by the Persons with Disabilities Act 1995, that is, a person who is suffering from 40% or more disability. This can be certified by either a medical practitioner or by the Gram Sabha as severely disabled as is culturally defined. Disability certificate. Disability certificate is any disability certificate from local government or state government or central government. There is no need to check the certificates. The guidelines for filling this block are: record information as declared by respondent regardless of documentary proof of disability or chronic illness. Even if the respondent has no proof of disability but claims to be disabled, investigators should write the appropriate disability code. In case of elderly household members listed as disabled, record the specific loss of ability. Example, loss of eyesight in old age would be coded as 1, that is blind, and not 97. That is disability due to old age. The explanation of codes to fill this block are also given in the manual. Block 4 of the schedule collects information on all the different sources of income or livelihood for the household. Block 4 of the questionnaire collects information on all the different sources of income or livelihood for the household, taking all household members collectively in the past 1 year. Some of the guidelines for filling this block are: the recall period is past 1 year. Record all different sources of household incomes, taking all members collectively. A household may have multiple sources of income. Read out each potential source of income, that is question 1 to 12, and code as appropriate. There is space for additional income sources, that is, those not covered under questions 1 to 12. Use these as the last resort and only if the reported source is not covered under questions 1 to 12. Codes 1 to 4 for question 4.1 include production for sale and for self-consumption of activities of cultivation, fishing, forest or natural produce collection, livestock or other agricultural enterprises. Codes 5 to 7 relate to wage employment. and include casual wage employment, which is agricultural and related activities, casual wage employment, which is non-agricultural, and salaried employment. Note that the key difference between salaried employment, public or private, vis-a-vis casual wage employment, which is agricultural or non-agricultural. Note that the key difference between salaried employment, which can be public or private, vis-a-vis casual wage employment, which can be agricultural or non-agricultural, is that salaried employment contracts are not renewed periodically or renewed less frequently, unlike casual wage employment contracts that are typically renewed daily or weekly. Code 8 pertains to own non-agricultural enterprise. Any business or trade activity not related to agriculture involving production of goods and services with the motive of earning profit is one's own non-agricultural enterprise. This will also include self-employment activities. Example, general store, tailoring, own factory for production of commodities, property dealer, transport agency, hotel, restaurant, eatery, confectionery or sweet shop, tea shop, milkman, money lending, salesperson, agents, handicrafts, artisans, etc. Payment for some of these occupations may be under the Jajmani system. For 8.1, which is traditional occupations or handicrafts or artisans, write yes if the own agricultural enterprise mentioned in question 8 above is a traditional profession. In 8.2, if the answer is yes, write the code of the activity from the code list, which includes barber, cobbler, ironsmith, carpenter, tailor, sweeper or rack picker, washerman, potter, weaver, folk artist, butcher, priest, and 97 for other, which is any other traditional activity not mentioned above. Example, Devdasi. If the code entered is 97, please specify the traditional occupation. Block 5 focuses on employment-related information of the household. Relevant information is recorded separately for each individual. Block 5.1 is for salaried employment. Write 1 if any member of the household had a salaried job in the past 1 year. Persons working in others' farm or non-farm enterprises, both household and non-household or government, and getting in return salary or wages on a regular basis and not on the basis of daily or periodic renewal of work contract are salaried employees. The key difference between someone in salaried employment and someone in casual employment is that the former has a contract that does not have to be renewed daily or weekly, etc. Categorization of a person in salaried employment has to be made depending on the regularity of employment and nature of contract. For example, if a driver is on the rolls of a company or government for a long duration, but is paid daily for his or her services, he or she will be treated as a casual worker and not as a salaried employee. It is the nature of contract which defines the salaried employment, not only the length of the contract. This category not only includes persons getting time wage, but also persons receiving piece wage or salary and paid apprentices, both full-time and part-time. It also includes persons who receive honoraria or incentives. It is not necessary that the person may be holding a salaried job at the time of the survey. Even if the household member held a salaried job in the last 1 year for any duration, the details have to be recorded. If no member of the household has a salaried job, enter code 2 for this question. Cross out table below and skip to block 5.2. If one or more members have a salaried job, fill in details about such members in the table provided using the following guidelines. Column 2. Enter person identification number of the person who is in salaried employment. Column 3. Nature of job should be specified here. Write in short the exact nature of work performed by the individual. For example, driver, police constable, clerk, etc. Use the remark space in block 14 to add any details that you feel are important. Column 4. Write the most recent monthly salary that is received by the individual member. The monthly salary is inclusive of all perks or allowances which are received in monetary form as part of salary by the worker. Perks received in kind, such as uniform or housing or vehicular transport, are not included as part of salary. Column 5. Write the code for the mode of payment of salary. If there is more than one mode, record the primary mode of payment. Column 6. Write whether the employment is with the government or private sector. Government here will also include semi-government organizations or autonomous institutions supported or aided by government, Panchayati Raj institutions, and government departmental undertakings such as railway or post or state transport corporations and so on. Column 7. Write the type of government job. Column 8. Put appropriate codes for the nature of job. 1 for professional or managerial or executive. 2 for machine operators or skilled factory workers. 3 for manual factory workers. 4 for service or sales workers. And 97 for others. There is space for 4 members. If there are more than 4 members with regular employment, then write the details below the block. Block 5.2 is for those who own non-agricultural trade or shop or business service. Block 5.2 is for own non-agricultural trade, shops, business, service. In this block, each row is for one establishment or shop or service. It may be owned jointly with other members of the household. Unlike other blocks, where each row is for a member of the household, here each row represents one enterprise or service. Column 2. Specify the nature of enterprise or service. Column 3. Write the appropriate codes. 1 for manufacturing, 2 for shop or eateries, 3 for handicrafts or artisans or home-based workers, 4 for professional services, 5 for repair or maintenance services, 6 for trade or business, 7 for construction, 8 for transport, and 97 for others. Column 4. Write the PID of the shareholders or co-owners of the enterprise. Column 4. Write the person identification number or PID of the shareholders or co-owners of the enterprise. For example, a shop may be owned by 2 brothers who are both members of the household, as recorded in Block 2. In such a case, enter both their PIDs in the spaces provided and enter NA in the third space for PID. Column 5 is for net monthly income. In column 6, write 1 if the enterprise or professional hires workers or subcontracts are part of the process to other households or enterprises. In column 7, write the appropriate code based on the status of registration of the enterprise with any government authority. In column 8, write if the enterprise or household member is a government contractor or private contractor. In column 9, if government contractor, then put the appropriate codes for the type of government contractor. The categorization may differ from state to state, but in general, the categorization is based on the amount of contract that the person or enterprise is eligible for. These apply for construction as well as supply contractors. The set of questions under Block 5.3. The set of questions under Block 5.3 collect information on characteristics of household members. For each question, record the person identification number or PID from Block 2, Column 1 of every individual for which the statement is true. There is space for 2 different individual PIDs for each question. If there are more than 2 individuals in any question, write the details next to the block. Row 1 relates to income tax. Row 2 relates to self-employed working professional. Block 6 of the questionnaire seeks to collect information on access to various government schemes, including Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. The schemes mentioned here are generic and the questions are applicable to central government schemes as well as state government schemes, even though they are known by different names. Some of the guidelines for filling this block are: for ration card, enter code 1 if the household has at least 1 ration card. Since the basic definition of the household adopted for this pilot is common kitchen, it is possible that a common kitchen household may have more than 1 ration card. Type of ration card. If the answer to question 1 is yes, enter type of card as per code list. If household has more than 1 type of ration card, list both the codes. If more than 2, mention the third or additional type at the end of the block. For number of Mahatma Gandhi Narega job cards held by the household, record only the number of cards possessed, not the job card number. For the question whether worked in Mahatma Gandhi Narega and the number of days worked for each financial year between 2006 and 7 and 9 and 10, record 1 if any household member did any work, at least 1 day, on Mahatma Gandhi Narega during the year, 2 otherwise. Only for the most recent financial year, 2009 to 10, also record the total number of days worked on Mahatma Gandhi Narega by all household members. record days worked if anyone has worked on Mahatma Gandhi Narega, even if the household does not have a job card, or if all household members are not listed in the job card or cards. For the question related to use of Anganwadi, record 1 if at least one child in the 3 to 6 years age group in the household goes to Anganwadi or Balwadi or ICDS center regularly. 2. Otherwise. Enter NA if there is no child of Anganwadi age in the household as per Block 2. For pensions, record 1 if any household member receives any sort of pension. Retired government employees as well as widow or old age or disability pensions given under social security schemes of central or state governments, and 2 for otherwise. If no household member receives a pension, cross out table below and skip to next block. If any household member receives a pension, record the following details for each pension recipient. Pension holder, specify PID of any member who receives any form of pension. Type, record the type of pension received using the code list. And amount, record the monthly pension received in rupees. Block 7 of the questionnaire collects information on all the land owned or possessed by the household, except for that land which is used for the homestead. Homestead land refers to the land used for residential purposes as well as extended area of the house that is generally used for keeping cattle, cultivation instruments and tools, etc. Land owned refers to the following. Household has a legal title to the land. Household has been officially allocated government land. Land owned refers to the following. Household has a legal title to the land. Household has been officially allocated government land. Land possessed but not owned refers to land that the household may possess but on which it may not have legal rights. That is, the household has all rights to use the land except for legal sale and purchase of the land. You may note that for both land owned and land possessed, land both within and outside the village boundaries is to be recorded. Land which has been leased out but is owned or possessed by any of the household members is to be recorded as part of land owned or possessed as applicable. Land leased in by the household is not to be treated as part of either land owned or possessed. All land owned or possessed is to be recorded as cultivation land, separately for irrigated and unirrigated, non-cultivation or non-farm land, or orchard or plantation land. Cultivation land. Cultivation land refers to land generally under cultivation by the household, even though it may currently be lying fallow, and can be irrigated and unirrigated land. Irrigated plots have an irrigation facility like a bore well, canal, etc. and are not dependent entirely on rain for irrigation. Non-irrigated land is dependent entirely on rain for irrigation for all seasons. Non-cultivation or non-farm land refers to land used for business activities like factory, dairy farm, bee or poultry or pig rearing, processing plant, etc. or for other agricultural purposes like livestock, fish farm, etc. An orchard or plantation is an intentional planting of trees or shrubs maintained for food production. Orchards comprise fruit or nut-producing trees. Plantations comprise crops such as rubber, tea, coffee, coconut, spices, etc. grown for commercial production. It may also include growing trees for selling wood, such as eucalyptus and poplar. Block 8 of the questionnaire collects information on the house in which the household resides, regardless whether owned or rented. For homeless households, cross out this and skip to Block 9. Type of materials used for housing construction of walls, roof of the house can be kacha materials, which would include unburnt bricks, bamboo, mud, grass, leaves, reeds, thatch, handmade clay tiles, mud bricks, plastic or polythene, tarpaulin sheets. Pakka materials include cement, concrete, oven-burnt bricks, hollow cement or ash bricks, stone, stone blocks, jackboards, or cement-plastered reeds, iron, zinc or other metal sheets, timber, machine-made tiles, slate, corrugated iron, asbestos cement sheet, veneer, plywood, artificial wood of synthetic material, and polyvinyl chloride material. Rooms include bedrooms, dining rooms, and living room, but exclude kitchens. Open spaces used solely for the purpose of keeping cattle, farm equipments will not be included. For question 1 under this block, write down the total number of rooms. In the case of multiple households living in one house but with separate kitchens, the total number of rooms will include those for exclusive use by the household as well as common rooms shared with the other households. In case the household owns more than one house, enter the total number of rooms in the house in which the household currently resides. Among the rooms used for residential purposes, as defined above, write the number of rooms which are Kacha, that is a structure which has walls and roof made of non-Pakka materials. Semi-Pakka, a structure which cannot be classified as a Pakka or a Kacha structure. Such a structure will have either the walls or the roof but not both, made of Pakka materials. And Pakka, which is a structure whose walls and roofs are made of Pakka materials. Enter 0 if no rooms in any of the three categories. Note that the sum of rooms listed in question 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3 must add up to the total number of rooms. Note that the sum of rooms listed in question 1.1, 1.2 and 1.3 must add up to the total number of rooms noted in question 1. For question 2, record 1 if the house has a separate kitchen, 2 otherwise. The household need not make food in the kitchen, but a kitchen shall be deemed to exist if the utensils etc. are kept in that separate kitchen and not in any common room. Also record in 2.1 the type of kitchen, that is Kacha, Semi-Pakka or Pakka, as per the given definition. For question 3, record the number of stories in the house. Enter 1 if the house only has ground floor, 2 if the ground and first floors, and so on. For question 4, record code for nature of plinth in the house. Plinth is the base of the house. It is the foundation on which the house stands. For question 5, record code for the nature of the roof of the house. Note that for classifying the material used in the roof, take into account only the material used for the outer roof exposed to the weather and not the inside ceiling. For question 6, record 1 if the household has ever received any government subsidy in house construction or repair under Indira Awas Yojana or any other government scheme for this house, 2 otherwise. Question 7, record 1 if the house has access to electricity, 2 otherwise. The connection may be legal or illegal. Under question 7 for 7.1, if the house has electricity, write down the average monthly electricity bill the household pays. If the household receives bills quarterly or annually, divide by the number of months to obtain the monthly electricity bill. For question 8, record whether the house has piped water. The connection may be either in the house or in the homestayed area. Under question 8 for 8.1, if the house has piped water, write down the average monthly water bill the household pays. For question 9, record 1 whether the household owns the land on which its home street is situated. For question 10, record whether the household has constructed the house using only family labor or has also hired labor or mason to construct the house. This is not applicable for a rented house. Block 9 of the questionnaire captures information regarding livestock of the household. For each type of animal group, write the total number possessed in column 3. If any of these animals or poultry are used for commercial purpose, record the number used for commercial purposes in column 4. Block 10 captures information on assets owned by the household. Assets that are to be included are those that are separately or shared or jointly owned by the household. Assets bought on loans or installments but owned by the household. Assets received as gifts by the household. And assets that worked or were in working condition at least at some point in the past 1 year, even if not working at the time of the survey. Assets which are not to be included are those which are community-owned assets and assets that have not been functional even once in the past 1 year. Do not enter the number of assets. You only need to know whether or not the household owns at least one of each of the listed types of assets. Block 11 of the questionnaire relates to financial assets of the household. For question 1, write 1 if the household owns at least one life insurance policy from LIC or any other private life insurance firm. For question 1.1, write down the number of household members on whose name there is a life insurance policy. For question 1.2, write down the total insured amount for all the policies taken together in rupees. For question 2, write 1 if the household owns a Kisan credit card. Under question 2.1, mention the credit limit granted in rupees in the next line. Maximum credit limit granted is the maximum amount the household can withdraw from the card. It should not be confused as the current loan outstanding. Question 3 relates to other saving instruments. Ask the household if they possess saving instruments like National Savings Certificate, Kisan Vikas Patra, Postal Savings Account, bank accounts or fixed deposits, Public Provident Fund account, SHGs, microfinance savings, chit funds, etc. For question 4, write 1 if there is any loan outstanding in the name of any member of the household. Block 12 of the questionnaire will collect additional information for the members of the households recorded in Block 2. Block 13 relates to perceptions of the household. Question 1 of the Block 13 asks the household to assess their standing among the other households of the hamlet or tola or segment. There are 5 categories, that is, 1 for very poor, 2 for poor, 3 for average, 4 for rich, and 5 for very rich. Ask the household to think and state their standing in the village. In question 2, ask the household's perception of who they think are the poorest 5 households in their hamlet or tola or segment. Record name of household head of these households. In question 3 of this block, ask the household's perception of who they think are the 5 richest households in their hamlet or tola or segment. Record name of the household head of these households. After filling up this block, the investigator should leave the cells for recording the census house and household serial numbers of the named households blank. These will be post-coded by the supervisor using the household number assigned to each household in the village master list. Block 14 is the last block of the questionnaire, which records investigators' remarks. During the course of the interview, if you find anything that is not recorded in the questionnaire but could be valuable information regarding the status of the household, please mention it in this block. You may also write your own views about the household response with regard to the accuracy of the information and cooperation with the survey team.